here at the invitation of Governor Jim Justice. And he's going to make some remarks first, and then I'll follow up with some remarks of my own, and then we'll take questions if you'd like. It's the governor's choice. Welcome, okay. Governor Jim Justice.
I'm going to sit with you. I'm going to read a couple of remarks in the beginning. Let me hop up here, Jerry, and I'm going to just read a couple of remarks, and then I'm going to sit back down. I normally don't read much, but it's probably best to read this. And that is, first and foremost, I really appreciate, Liberty University's president, Jerry Falwell, and the invitation to also, as Jerry thanked me, I would thank him for being able to have the ability to just make a few comments about West Virginia and the great state that we really are. I would say that a long time ago, the infringement of fundamental values is what really created the beginning of West Virginia. Now, in doing so, the government of Virginia was probably significantly out of step, and therefore, all of a sudden, counties moved and West Virginia was formed. Now, in 1861, West Virginia's first constitutional convention included 39 counties within the borders of the proposed new state, but also named an additional 7 counties, all of those that were adjacent to those 7 counties that would be eligible for inclusion if the people of those areas voted to be part of the new state. Now, when West Virginia's Constitution was drafted later that year, the number of counties was intentionally unlimited, with an invitation for Virginia counties to vote to join West Virginia, along with a statement that, and here's the statement, additional territory may be admitted into and become part of this state with the consent of the legislature. Now, I'm going to sit down now, and I'm going to just talk to you. West Virginia is an incredible state, and West Virginia is truly on the move. We're doing a lot of good stuff. We've got great people. We've got 4 incredible seasons. We have natural resources beyond belief in coal, oil, gas, timber, water. And we're located within a rock's throw of 2/3 of the population of this country. In addition to that, we're a loving, good people, faith-based people, people that really know the difference between right and wrong, and people that are family-oriented, people that are loving and will absolutely embrace anyone and everyone. Now, along the way, and I'd like to just hold on to this just one second. Along the way, there has been at least some questions come up from the standpoint of resolutions from within our legislature. The great Senator Charlie Trump, a great delegate, so many people have come up with resolutions that have basically said, if you're not happy where you're at, come on down. I would say exactly just that. If you're not truly happy where you are, we stand with open arms to take you from Virginia or anywhere you may be. We stand strongly behind the Second Amendment, and we stand strongly for the unborn. There are so many great things about West Virginia, and we're on the verge of moving in a way that you can't fathom. Just imagine just tourism in West Virginia with a growth rate of 58% higher than the national growth rate right now. Imagine the stuff that we've done for the elderly, the hungry, the veterans. Our commitment is so strong in every way. for standing up for what we think is just right. I've got to say this. You know, our president absolutely has done so much, and most West Virginians are in step by step with our president. Our president has done so much, and he gets these unrelenting assaults all the time. And yet he keeps charging. And we should be thankful for all he's done. My last comment would be just this. This man right beside me, our families have known one another. He and I gave a eulogy for a great friend, Worth Carter, together at Liberty University. And what they've done at Liberty University is unfathomable. They've grown beyond belief, and they've done incredible work. He's a great man, and I can't thank him enough for all he's done for Liberty University, for the state of Virginia, and for this country in every way. It's a great place. They do great work. It reminds me so much of how I look at West Virginia in every way. It's a great place, a beautiful place. I would say in my closing comments just this. If you're out there, no matter where you may be, Virginia or wherever you may be, as an individual or as a business or whatever, West Virginia is waiting for you with open arms. West Virginia is a great place, and you'll never, ever, ever regret it. You will not believe just how great and how strong a commitment we made. We put a stake in the ground and said, we're going to make education our centerpiece. Just think about, and the last of my last is just this. Blue Ridge, right here where we're at. A school that has grown beyond belief. 200% enrollment increases. Absolutely, the school has 6,500 kids right now and is the third largest school in the state of West Virginia, and they are producing out student after student after student that is qualified to do something in this world, to absolutely have a skill to be able to do something in this world. Right behind me are robotics that I couldn't begin to understand. There's no way on this planet that I could do it. But these students are able to do it. This is a breeding ground for jobs that have people that are trained to do stuff, to have skills that we need in this country so badly. I can't salute them enough. I can't salute this great man right here and his wonderful family enough and that great university. I can't salute our president enough. And I can't tell you how much I love West Virginia. And I'll end by saying there may be somebody out there that loves it as much, but there's nobody that loves it more. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you. First, I want to say our family's feelings toward Jim Justice are mutual, and I can't imagine that there could possibly be a better governor in the United States of America. You all are very fortunate to have him as your governor. And I want to explain first why this is such an important issue to me. My family's roots go so deep in Virginia. It's not just Liberty University. Our family first came to Virginia in the 1600s. They came to Central Virginia in the 1700s. My great-great-great-grandfather was in business with the governor of Virginia. His name at the time in 1834 was Extra Billy Smith. And they operated stagecoach lines to the Shenandoah Valley. And by the 1900s, my grandfather operated a number of businesses on Liberty Mountain, which my father eventually picked for the site of Liberty University. My Virginia ancestors in Central Virginia fought in the Revolutionary War, fought the British, and over Thomas Jefferson's admonition in the Declaration of Independence. And needless to say, while our state roots and values run deeply, I can confidently say the same for West Virginia Governor Jim Justice. I'm reading a little more than he did because he made me promise to read, so I'm going to try to keep my promise. But his family has built successful businesses across West Virginia in coal, farming, the hospitality industry. And it's just remarkable what he's done. That's why he's such a great governor, because he had so much experience in the private sector before he entered politics. And that's same can be said about President Trump. But following generations of justices, Big Jim is making his state proud again. Other than when he talks about the championship high school baseball team that he coaches, he's usually too humble to take credit for the revival that's happening in West Virginia right now. In fact, President Trump and Governor Justice are the 1-2 punch that this state needed, I believe. Under Governor Justice's leadership, West Virginia has become more attractive as an economic success story and a freedom-loving refuge by the day. The state just achieved the highest level of total employment in a single month in over a decade, as well as the lowest unemployment rate since 2008. West Virginia is truly experiencing a comeback story, the likes of which they've never seen before, something that all West Virginians should be proud of. And while Governor Justice and I have always shared great pride for our own states, that's what's happening in Virginia right now is a tragedy in the making. Democratic leaders in Richmond, through their elitism and radicalism, have left a nearly unrecognizable state in their wake. Despite a spate of scandals, over the past 2 years, the Democrats control every statewide elected office throughout the Commonwealth of Virginia, as well as both chambers of the state legislature. And they're using their power to strip away the God-given rights held by every person in the state, despite their protections under the U.S. Constitution. The Democrats are anti-life, anti-Second Amendment, anti-liberty, and even anti-business with their oppressive environmental regulations. And now they're doing even more damage by making it difficult for the most needy college students in the state to finance their education. A recent budget proposal aims to eliminate student aid for thousands of online students attending private colleges, while increasing aid for more affluent resident students attending those same colleges. A plan that would affect military, minority, and lower income students the most. 2,000 of those students are Liberty University online students. 26% are minorities, 65% are low income Pell recipients. 374 of those 2,000 are members of the military, and the Virginia students whom the elitist Democrats are attacking are the people who need the help the most. We at Liberty will do whatever we can to provide private aid to help those students, but many of students, online students at other colleges face uncertain futures. All this smacks of elitism at a time when populism under leaders like Donald Trump and Jim Justice have restored America's founding principles and hope for the future. But it has also awoken a sleeping giant of passionate conservatives who will stand up against this infringement of their God-given rights. The assault on individual liberties in Virginia has drawn attention to the fluid border that has existed ever since the great state of West Virginia was formed in the midst of the U.S. Civil War. Dating back to when the war was tearing families and communities apart, the opportunities for counties in Virginia to join the ranks of those in West Virginia has remained an open invitation to this day. While action by the legislature in both states and possibly even the U.S. Congress might still be required, the palpable yearning in Virginia for a pathway to greater freedom with our family in West Virginia grows greater by the day. Petitions are already circulating online, and one group has dubbed this movement Vexit, V-E-X-I-T. Recently, I learned about a resolution currently moving through the West Virginia House from my son Trey, and it prompted me to contact my friend, Governor Justice. This resolution effectively puts out a welcome sign inviting any counties in Virginia to become part of the state of West Virginia. While there will likely be a robust debate about how cities and counties could leave their home state of Virginia, one thing is absolutely certain. Many counties are taking a long, hard look at escaping the barbaric, totalitarian, and corrupt Democratic regime in Richmond that is trampling on individual rights throughout the state. If the groundswell of support grows for cities and counties to leave, what's also certain is that they will be joining the mountain state miracle that Governor Jim Justice has engineered. with the help of his good friend, President Donald Trump. That's why, while I will be campaigning for my good friends President Trump and Governor Justice this election year, I will also be supporting any efforts to let the people decide the question of Virginia counties joining the state of West Virginia. The threat from the radical left is real and spreading across our country and tearing our national family apart at the seams. But we have a rare opportunity to make history in our time by pushing back against tyranny in Washington and Richmond. Virginia has divided peacefully twice in the past, to create the Commonwealth of Kentucky in 1792 and the state of West Virginia in 1863. I hope history will also record one day how Virginia divided once again in our decade, because the interests of those in Richmond were so divergent from those of us to the west, just as they were with Kentucky and West Virginia. We need a state government that is not elected by federal workers in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., as is the case now in Virginia, that will protect our God-given rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And I believe West Virginia will do precisely that. Thank you. We'll take any questions anybody might have, if the governor likes.
I have a statement. I am not going to live in a state in which landlords, employers, and the foster care system are allowed to turn people away just because they are part of the LGBT community. This discrimination will not just affect LGBT people in West Virginia alone. In West Virginia alone, more than 5,000 children are in the foster care system. The discrimination that LGBT parents will face will deny some of these children a loving home. I love this state, and I hope someday that West Virginia will see LGBT people as worthy of having equal opportunities. According to the Williams Institute, West Virginia is home to 46,000 LGBT adults. Only 5% of West Virginia's workforce is covered by local laws that protect workers from discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity. But 70% of West Virginia residents support employment of non-discrimination protections for LGBT people. As West Virginians, our motto is "Mountaineers are always free." And Martin Luther King Jr. once said that no one is free until we all are free.
I don't think you'll find any disagreement up here. I don't think anybody up here will disagree with anything you just said, so good statement. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You acknowledged, I'm with the Herald Mail newspaper, and we're based out of Hagerstown, Columbus area. You mentioned that maybe some congressional action that would be necessary. How much work have you done researching that, and whether that would actually be something that would be needed?
The lawyers tell me that what has to happen is that counties in Virginia and cities have to start petition drives and ask their board, after they get the signatures, ask their board of supervisors or city council to put the referendum on the ballot this November. That the referendum would not be binding, so they'd be asking their supervisors and councilwomen to put on a referendum that's not binding, but that will put pressure on politicians in Richmond to do the right thing. I think West Virginia's already said they'll accept whoever wants to come. But the counties and cities in Virginia, after they show their support by voting this fall, will then have to go to the General Assembly and get approval to leave.
So is your understanding that Congress would not be involved?
We don't know that yet.
We don't know.
Okay. Last time it split, we weren't part of the United States. We were part of the Confederate States of America. So it's hard to, there's no precedent for it, but, well, I guess Kentucky, but.
You read rather quickly in your statement, but you indicated that were you saying you were supportive of Brexit and other movements, or were you?
I'm supporting for give the people whatever they need to make the decision for the state and for the counties and cities. And I think it makes sense. I would vote for it in my county. And I think the problem is our founders, when they created the District of Columbia, they meant for it to be a federal district where the federal government operated. And they thought it was big enough to encompass the entire federal government operation. Well, the problem is they had no idea back then that it would sprawl over to 20 times its size. So now you have people who were intended by the founders to be in a federal district and not voting in any state because they have conflict of interest voting in Virginia. And that's really what's messed up, taking control of Virginia away from its residents. So until we can get the District of Columbia boundaries, I should say, expanded to cover the whole Washington, D.C. metro area, I think this is the only option that we have.
How realistic do you think any of this is?
It's a long shot, no question about it, and it depends on how much grassroots support that it receives. But it will, even if it doesn't completely succeed, it'll send a clear message of what a great job Governor Justice is doing here in West Virginia by how many people would like to go, even if they're not allowed to go. So,
what do you make of the Virginia lawmaker's suggestion that the DC district, as it was originally drawn up until 1846, should be restored? In other words, Arlington and
No, it would have to
Virginia.
be 10 times that big. It would have to be what the founders intended, which it would have to be big enough to cover the entire federal government. And that would include contractors, employees, basically all of Northern Virginia. And so that's something that would definitely require an act of Congress. I think it's what our founders intended. But, and I've proposed it to high-level folks in federal government, and they're interested in hearing about it. But I think this has a better chance of working for Virginia than that does.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say one thing and follow up to you. And it's just this. You may think, well, what's West Virginia's role in all this? And West Virginia's role is just one thing. And just that. And you know, whether it be Senator Charlie Trump's resolution or whether it be Delegate Gary Howell's resolution and everything, West Virginia's role is one thing. And that is to tell the world just how inviting we are and that we would welcome with open arms. We don't know all the intricacies that are going on, and we surely don't know, whether or not that this can run across the finish line. And we all know that there's difficulties in making it run across the finish line. However, we all know this, that if there's people or there's businesses or there's counties that are discontent, we want the world to know just how welcoming West Virginia is. And so that's our role. That's my role. My role is to say, we're doing all kinds of great stuff in West Virginia, and absolutely the proof's in the pudding. West Virginia is really on the move. And so with all of that, we want everyone to know we stand with open arms. We want to welcome. We want to bring you in and everything. And I truly believe that, whether it's a long shot or it's a sure shot, you're never going to get there unless there's an effort to try. And that's all there is to it. And so my advice to any and everybody on everything in life would be just this. There was a guy just the other day that spoke at the Big Atlantic Banquet, which was a basketball tournament that I run and have been doing forever. And he's the coach of Marshall University, it's Danny D'Antoni. He said his mom used to tell him all the time, if you walk all the time with the crowd, you'll always be just in the crowd. He coached Kobe Bryant. And Kobe Bryant was dying probably while he was speaking, and none of us knew it. An incredible man with an incredible message and everything. He said that in his life, his grandfather was an immigrant, and the best day of his life every year, get this, was April 15th. When he said, they made us bring the wine out to him. He had a big cigar, and he signed his tax return with the greatest pride in the world because he came to this incredible country. Incredible country. You know, now, you know, there's surely things going on that I won't get down in the weeds about in Virginia at all. I don't have any business doing that. I don't want to do that in any way, shape, form, or fashion.
He made me do it.
But I want everybody to know, yeah, this is a good place here. Come on down.
I'll say this, it has happened twice before, Kentucky and West Virginia. And I don't think it's as much of a long shot as it was for Liberty University to grow from a little small Bible college to the largest Christian university in the world in the last 10 years. So I've seen miraculous things happen, and so has Governor Justice. So we'll see, but like you say, if you don't try, it definitely won't happen.
Governor Justice Ian Masters, the president of the West Virginia Citizens Defense League. I noticed your invitation is pretty open. Is that extended to Maryland counties as well? The Appalachian portion of Maryland has had its gun rates essentially destroyed over the last years.
Sure, it extends to Maryland, it extends to California, it extends to anywhere and everywhere. You come on down. We'd love to have you and everything. Absolutely, it's an incredible state, and like I said, we're really doing it now. And we are right on the verge of an incredible potential growth. And I say all the time, and I've got to say this real quick, but a lot of people say, Governor Justice, where do you see West Virginia 20 years from today? You know where I see it? I see West Virginia as a state that has all the opportunity, all the entertainment, all the cultural values, all the things that the other states have had that maybe we just wanted, and us still having the right and the ability to live in paradise. That's where I see West Virginia. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say, come on down. This is the place to be.
But on Maryland, it is true, Virginia and West Virginia are the only states that have this historic relationship and this historic fluid border. So it might be tougher with other states. I don't know.
Sure, it'd be tough, but it won't be tough for you to come, you know, or your businesses to come. You come on over here. We may not be able to get your counties, but we're going to, you know, we'll open your county. We'll welcome your county,
okay,
but we'll welcome you people and your businesses.
I wish Liberty wasn't so big. I'd move it over. Any other questions? Last chance.
Let me say this: the Falwell family's here, and I just met several of the young
My wife
ones.
Becky's here.
And you know, we ought to, in West Virginia, give them a great round of applause and thank them for all the great work that they've done in every way. We love them and thank y'all so much for coming.
Well, Governor Justice, thank you so much. This was all put together on a tight time span. He and I have been on the phone probably every night since, well, at least for a week, multiple times, working out details, and his staff did a wonderful job, and my staff, Mark Serrano and his Jillian Anderson and his firm and from DC did a wonderful job putting all this together. But my lawyer, David Corey, did an incredible amount of research, and it's a very interesting and very, I mean, it's a rare opportunity. I don't think opportunities like this come along in history very often. And like I said, it's happened twice before. So I'm just like him. I think if we don't try, it certainly won't happen. But thank you all for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank all of you.
Yeah.